What's going on, guys? A long overdue welcome back to another episode of our Surviving Bedrock series. Yeah, it's been around about 2.5 weeks since I actually played Minecraft, so I'm sort of getting back used to the buttons after playing, I think it's 4 different games in the last couple of weeks. But nevertheless, we are now back on our Surviving Bedrock series. I'm ready to get back into the sort of Minecraft world that we've built ourselves here, and as soon as I came on, the first thing I've done is that I got completely sick of the aquamarine stuff here, so I replaced it all with our sort of man cave style. So we've got a lot of oak wood going on, our cobblestone steps. I've kept all of the glass where it was, probably got rid of quite a lot of the actual aquamarine and replaced it with more glass, because the oak wood was a little bit too much in this area after replacing it all. So then I ended up using the stripped bark oak wood for the actual sort of banisters of the stairwells, and then I went with the normal logs for the sort of scaffolding around it, and then that leads into our extension of the man cave down here. So I've sort of done a bit of terraforming. Initially I had the stairs coming all the way down, it didn't look all that great, so I sort of just swapped it out for a sort of leveling down terrain, and I may curve it off. I may take out this section of the cave wall here, probably extend it a little bit round just so this room is a little bit more sort of formed than it is at the moment. So this section here can probably go, that section there can probably go. So then this main hallway is a lot bigger than what it is at the moment. But that is not what we are here to be working on today. The first thing I actually want to get done is an achievement, which is a very, very simple one today. As soon as I can get some food to eat. And then what we want to do is quickly pop into the nether and go swimming in some lava, because I don't know how I've not done that in this world yet, but apparently that is an achievement. To swim in lava with a fire resistance going on. So hopefully we don't get our face blown off by a gas or something. Look, you go over here, stop wandering that way. It keeps on coming through the portal whenever this area is loaded, and it's starting to wind me up a little bit. But yeah, if you're wondering what I've been up to the past couple of weeks, we've had 3 brand new games come out, which is the Red Dead, the Fallout 76, Battlefield 5. So all of them have sort of taken up quite a lot of my spare time playing them, which means I've not had that much time for Minecraft. So if you're wondering what's going on with our big sort of plan of our hostile and passive mob farm, that, because it takes so much work to do... Oh look, there's a ghast now. Can we kill him? Yeah, we can. Did he drop us here? Yes, he did. Sweet. Go swimming in some lava. Yeah, so because that build is taking so much time that it's not actually being completed yet, do we actually have to swim? Can you do the swimming animation in lava? How long? Well, we've got the air bubbles coming up, so this should be counted as swimming. Yeah, so as I was saying before I get too distracted, it takes so much time doing that project that it is coming along. And you know what, I think it's easier if I just sort of take you over there and show you the sort of progress that I've made so far. So as soon as this achievement comes up and I figure out which way we actually came in from. Where was it? Go away with her. Oh great, I think I've got lost now. Here? Oh, there's the achievement. And we managed to kill another ghast. Yay! Yeah, so I'll bring you over there once I find my way back out of here. Oh look, there's another tier. Sweet. Okay, yeah, I'll catch you back in a sec. Alright then guys, so we're over here at the massive project that we're undertaking at the moment. Now, as you can see by the map, what I've ended up doing is extending the chunk boundaries out to 6 in each direction instead of the initial 4 that we were doing. And when I've done this, it's cut across the water a bit over here. It's cut into the mountains over on this bottom left hand corner, which means there's been a lot... Oh, sorry about that, my phone's not on silent yet again. Which means there's been a lot more digging out than what I initially anticipated. Now, first of all, I have already gone and dug all of the 5 slime chunks out to bedrock level. So that's all done and ready to go with. This is going to be our sort of killing floor for all of the other mobs being pushed into this area. We get back up here because it's getting to night time, and this area is so dangerous at night time. I've been killed by phantoms around here, probably about 6 or 7 times. because I tend to just carry on working when it does get to night time. So let's sleep it away to avoid the distraction of mobs attacking us. And awake. So I've cleared out them slime chunks already, that's all done. Now what I'm trying to do is, where this whole boundary box is now, I'm trying to bring the entire floor level to the same level, which is at 67. And that is because that was the majority of the floor level. So where you have the terrain go in, like up and down and whatnot, the mountains are being clearing out. That's actually been probably one of the easiest parts. It's the areas where the floor dips down by about 7 or 8 layers. And what I'm having to do is use a bunch of blocks and actually fill in the areas where it's sort of like pivoting down. And that is taking a lot more time than it would do to just dig it all out. So I'm not sure if it may have been better for me just to sort of dig it all down to a certain height. Like dig it all down to level 60, so that way no matter where the area was I would have had to dig it down. But I thought it would have been more time more time saving, shall I say, if I just brought it all to the sort of medium height, where half the terrain was already sort of at that height, so that way I'd only have to dig out so much. But that's not really worked out in my favour. So I'm sort of going around tearing it out, and then when I've got a full inventory of blocks, I go to an area that needs filling in. I then start filling in that area, and it's just a back and forth. And as you can probably tell, it is a very big time sink for me, because most of this mountain's now down, which is good. I still need to clear out this little corner over here. I need to bring up the terrain in some areas still. Yeah, so all of this area around here, I need to bring it up by another 2 layers, which shouldn't take too long at all. That mountain needs to be finished. Now, the reason how comes I've not finished this mountain a lot sooner is because the haste beacon that I've got doesn't actually extend all the way over here. As you can see, it's gone. So what I was trying to do is sort of run towards the center area, get the haste, and then I'd run back and dig a bit, just because I'm being far too lazy to move the beacon. And I should have really moved it at the beginning when I started tearing down this massive chunk of mountain, but yeah, it's just one of them things, just like, well, it shouldn't take too long, and it's just taken monstrous amounts of time. But yeah, so that's our progress on this area. Now, after we've sort of leveled it all out to the exact same Y level, we are then going to be going and covering the entire area with glass to prevent endermen from spawning. Then I've got to make sure that all of the blocks on the ground are grass blocks. And then I got to dig out the waterway tunnels all leading to this center section. Then I'm going to have to build the slime platforms for the slimes to spawn. And then sort out a sort of kill section, the item collection, and then the item sorting. So there's still a ton of work to be put into this area, but we will be cracking on with this project as soon as I finish leveling it out, because that's a major time sort of sink of it. I'll probably level it out and then put the glass above it before I bring you back to do any sort of actual work on it, because that is a stupid amount of glass. Like, I don't even want to attempt the maths. Like, every single one of these squares is 16 by 16. So that's 16 by 16 lots of glass over that many squares. So it's going to be a ton of sand gathering, a ton of smelting, and then a ton of lane blocks. This is like tens of thousands of blocks I'm going to have to sort out. But we've gathered an absolute bunch of resources. Digging out the slime chunk, we've got a bunch of like redstone, iron, diamond, coal, gold, and all that good stuff. And then we've got an absolute ton of stone, all the diorites and granites, a bunch of gravel and dirt, I do believe. Yep, dirt, and then a whole bunch of grass, then more gravel. So yeah, we're not going to be hard up for resources anytime soon. But that's the progress over here, just in case you're wondering on where I'm at with this. I'm hoping to get this all done and dusted and hopefully functioning by Christmas time. That is my sort of plan for this area. But today, to ease ourselves back into the Minecraft world, I actually want to take on a little bit of a redstone project. And that is to create a concrete maker. So basically, obviously not to manufacture the concrete, but to sort of harden the concrete powder into concrete and then push it all into a block form in order for us to harvest a lot easier, rather than what I've usually been doing, which is pillaring all the way up on concrete powder, pouring down a bucket of water, picking up the water, and then just digging the column all the way down. So yeah, once I've sorted out an area for us to start working on that, I'll bring you back. Right then guys, so we're down here in the extension of the man cave. So this is where our stairwells come in. Obviously we're going to be terraforming a lot of this to make it as looking fairly decent hallways, but then I've sort of dug out a little crook over here for where we're going to have our concrete maker, and I'm hoping that we've got all of the resources that we need on us. So first of all, we just want to lay out exactly where stuff should be going. We want one, because we can't go through this wall, we've got another hallway just behind it, so we need at least a sort of 1 block worth of working room. And then we want so that's going to be our wall. So if we say that can go just there, that's going to be pushing our concrete along. And then just down here is, yeah, this is right. So just down here is where we want our line of pistons. If we just clear that out to there, like so. How many do we want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want it to be even, so we'll go with 8. And then we're going to have that line push them up. And then we are going to want some sort of block. That's powder for me to do a testing after. So get the ender pearls off. So when it pushes it up, we then want to push it out. We want, say, probably a whole wall of these. So how high do we want it? Because I've dug this up as high as I can reach, and I've dug it in this area because we've got our haste beacon set up. It's just over there somewhere, so that way we can use haste to take down the concrete block after it's formed. So we can only go up to that height anyway. So how many would that be? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll say we want to take it up to 6 really. So we don't want to take it all the way up to the ceiling, and then it will push it out in a big block form. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out all of the pistons, and I'll be right back. Okay, we've got our piston wall in and our bottom row of pistons, which is pushing the blocks up, and then we had to actually move this piston over by 1 because I forgot if it was too close to this, it would then activate this bottom piston here at the same time as it does this one, which is something that we did not want. So we need to bust down 1 block here and 2 blocks here, I do believe. And then we need to do 1 of them, bring our water so it goes just down to there. And then redstone torch, redstone dust, and that should be our little system for doing the automatic concrete into hardened concrete. So if we just get our test blocks over to here, onto our hotbar please, and that is working a treat, and that's into solid concrete now. So let's break them. So we know that that section's all working. The next section is going to be this bottom line of pistons. So there's a circuit that I've actually managed to figure out in a redstone test world, because as you know, I was constantly running into issues with using observers with pistons, that you end up having the sort of infinite circuit going off from one to the other. So if you had a observer detect something that was in front of the piston to then activate the piston to push whatever it was, like sugarcane or something, that you'd end up getting the endless loop going like that. And there's a number of different circuits. Initially, the one that I was using was quite big and bulky. It was a sort of very, very old school monostable sort of circuit, but the one that, oh, did not want to break you. The one that I've now want to use is a little bit of a weird one. I was messing about with a number of different ideas using droppers with comparators and hoppers in order to create a 2 signal. So then when it received a second signal, it would then send the item in the bottom dropper back up to the first one, and the bottom dropper would then activate the thing, so then it wouldn't be triggering itself. And that one was actually quite big and bulky. So the one that I've come up with is not as big and bulky. It is still a little bit big. If we have one of them there, we are going to need a couple of other blocks. We're going to need some obsidian. Comparators, a repeater, got redstone dust, we're going to need a sticky piston, and yeah, I think that's it. So we've got our observer here. Now, in order, just in case we do lay the concrete quicker than this thing can push it up, we're going to be having an obsidian block behind the observer, so that way it can't push it any further back, which means this thing won't actually be able to push a block going further that way. How many is this? 8, 9, 10 anyway. Yeah, so if that obsidian block wasn't there, it would actually be able to push it. And then behind this obsidian block, we are going to want a repeater on 2 ticks, and then we're going to want redstone, redstone, and then we're going to want this linked onto a comparator timer, and then that will be going through, say, another couple of bits of redstone, and then that should be on a sticky piston. So we want a sticky piston facing this way. Is this going to be enough room to be able to do this? I'm trying to work it out. This actually may need to go back by 1, just to be on the safe side. Like so. That should be fine. I'm breaking blocks everywhere. Haste around here is a bit of a nightmare at times. So we've got that there, then we want our sticky piston, say, onto there. And then we're going to want our observer onto the sticky piston, like so. And then when that gets pushed, that can then activate this redstone line, which can then come down to here. Do you reckon that we're going to need a repeater here? Just to be on the safe side, to ensure that all of the pistons do actually go off. And then what happens is that this will stay on, so then when the pistons do extend and then it triggers this observer again, this timer will still be ticking down. So this will still be on there, and because the observer's pushed over to the redstone dust, it will only send a 1 tick pulse, which means the pistons won't be. So it's sort of like a bud switch with a monostable circuit. It's a little bit weird. It took me a while to sort of figure it out in my redstone test world. That's obsidian, but just to test this section out to make sure it is working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, hopefully. Oh, no, we need 1 more. And there you go. So then you don't end up with a continuous loop. Now, easier way for me to show you how this is working is by me just placing a block next to it, to be honest with you. So let's break all of that. So if we just get concrete powder is going to keep on falling down, isn't it? If we just get some dirt as a test thing. So as I can show you, the signal will then come through here. It will be on this comparator timer, which will slowly wean itself down. If you're unfamiliar with the comparator timers, what happens is that when it sends a signal equal to the signal that it receives from the back out to the front. So if it's receiving a signal of 14, then this would be 14, this would be 13, then this receives 13, sends 13, this would then go to 12, this would receive 12, send 12, 11, and then it will just gradually wean itself down, which is how it comes. The signal slowly decreases over time. And what happens here is that this piston, sticky piston, extends with the observer block, sends a 1 tick pulse over to this line here, which then makes all of these pistons kick up, which is what we're seeing here. So that happens, and then the time also. So then what happens is that when this then pulls down and resends the signal, you will actually see the comparator flash twice, like that. But because this timer is still slowly weaning itself off, and this can't be pushed any more than once while this is still weaning itself down, which means that second signal sent isn't going to affect the circuit that we've got here, which is a very quick and simple way of doing this circuit. If you're running into the issue of observers repeatedly receiving and sending signals to the piston is watching, it gets quite annoying, but this circuit is very reliable. You just got to make sure that that repeater is on 2 ticks, because if it goes too quickly, if you haven't actually got a repeater there, you end up having the exact same situation that you did have, where it goes nuts. Yeah, so that's not what you don't want. That's not what you don't want, double negative. No, that's not what you want, is what I wanted to say. So let's go and place our repeater back into there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting an observer facing down right there, and then I'm going to be linking up that to the exact same type of circuit, but up further there. And then I just need to figure out a way to send the signal down to this piston wall. I'm going to do all of that off camera because the circuitry is going to be the exact same. It's just going to be a lot of fiddling around with the actual redstone cabling. But yeah, I'll bring you back after this is all in place and it's ready to go. So I have managed to put the top circuit in, and I have actually managed to link it all up now. So what we have here, it goes along the bottom, activates this bottom circuit, pushes the blocks up, and then when it reaches the very top, what happens is pretty much a similar story to what happens below. Is that we've got the exact same circuit up here, observer facing into the obsidian to prevent blocks being pushed up further than they're meant to actually go, because it can actually push up to, 12 blocks, and this is only, I think, 8 high or 6 high. So we need the obsidian there to prevent that from happening, and then when that does happen, it will send a signal through to this comparator circuit, kicking out the observer to this line here, which then spiral staircase down into, 3 rows over the 6 sets of pistons. So then the block that it's on activates that row, and then the redstone dust activates the actual top row, and then another line there, and then another line there. And I've managed to fit it all into a relatively tight space, which I'm quite happy about. The circuits themselves are very small and simple to do. Not a lot of resources, barring the pistons, which are absolute major pain to make, because they chew up quite a lot of wood. So I've had to harvest quite a lot of that lately. Let me put away all of this stuff so then we give it a proper test. Hold on with that. This is our random garbage chest, which will be thrown into our sorting system. Obsidian is for you. That can go into there. Sticky pistons into there. Redstone torches. Get a nice clean inventory. Let's grab a couple of stacks of black concrete. Throw them into there. Okay, so fingers crossed this all goes well. So what we can do is we should actually be able to I want to be able to do it so then I can see what's going on, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Can we break you? If we sit here. Okay, yeah, so you can't do it that way. I know that you can stand quite close to this and just keep on pushing it. Oh no, you can't. Why is it doing that? Oh, if we have a block over that, can we then hold it? Yeah, you can. So it's all getting pushed up. And that's where the obsidian is stopping it from getting pushed any further, otherwise all of that circuit would be broken by now. Okay, so 2 more lines from the top. 1 more. Oh. There we go. So then we could do that with all of our black concrete powder, end up with a very large block of black concrete to then break down. So what I need to do is actually tidy this entire area up, because we've got so many random blocks all around the place, and I probably want to do some sort of cave fill, and then I'll probably put some obsidian or something in the top corners to prevent it being sort of pushed out even further, which is probably going to be the safest bet. I'll probably do it. I can't have the entire front wall. I'll have to think about how to prevent it getting pushed out further than I want to, or I'll just use it to the sort of amount that I need to actually do, rather than worry about that. But yeah, it's working great actually. It's working a lot more smoother than I thought it would do. And you can literally just hold here and hold left trigger, hold here, sit here and hold left trigger. And it's so much easier than pillaring all the way up. Need to make sure that it's not getting broken in any way. Nice. And then when that's all done, we just get our pick. Oh wow, it's instant break with the haste as well. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. It's so much easier. I'm actually looking forward to having to use large amounts of concrete now. Before it was like, oh, do I really want to have to do this and peel it all the way up and do stack after stack? But that was what, like 2 stacks worth? Oh yeah, pretty much nearly 2 stacks worth. And it is so quick and easy. But yeah, I think that's that project all done and dusted. I'm going to have to do all the tidying up and sort of decorate it because I need to get rid of all of these random blocks and sort of tidy up the cave and make it more formed. Because at the moment I've been tearing through it and you've got massive like chunks of it missing. Like this entire section here will probably get torn out because I don't really like it there that much. I'll probably smooth out this area. I'll probably do a curved sort of entrance, sort of like what is it called? An archway. I'll probably do like an archway entrance to this area and just have this as like a concrete nook or a concrete corner. I'm not too sure what to call it, but yeah, it's our little concrete maker. It's very quick and simple to do, and it's a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be. I spent ages making up about 7 or 8 different designs for this, and this is by far the most simplest version that I've managed to come up with. And I'm not sure if you can hear that, but that's my morning time alarm. Yeah, it's been well longer than 3 days building this in game, because I actually went and had a cup of tea in between cuts, just so you know. Which means as soon as I go outside of this night time, I'm going to get attacked by phantoms, which means I'm going to have to sleep next time it's night. But I'm going to do all the tidying up and decorating of this off camera, because I know that the video is going to be getting on a bit now. But hopefully if we get to a more suitable area, we can end our episode off. We've already done our achievement for the day, so we don't have to worry about that. I've also got plans, before I end off, because I wanted to do a quick viewer vote with you guys. I want to get started on creating a massive industrial area for major farms for sorting out our trading. So we're going to have massive farms like Neverwater farms, automatic crop farms for the villagers, automatic sugarcane, and just every single farm you could think of that can be done automatically. We're going to have a massive sort of version of them to sort of crank them out as and when we need them. But the build style I'm getting stuck with. Initially I was thinking to do it in a sort of steampunk design, and then I remembered I have absolutely no idea how to build in a steampunk design. So I think that's a little bit ambitious of me, because I honestly have no idea where to even begin with that design. Steampunk I thought would match the sort of industrial area itself, but I have no idea what sort of block palette or anything to use for that. But I'm going to do a vote for what, actually instead of a vote, just let me know down in the comments if you're watching to the end of this video and you're listening to me still. If you've got any sort of ideas on what sort of design aspect we go for our industrial zone, if we could do like ultra modern or futuristic or medieval or fortress or any sort of design style that you think would match an industrial area. It's going to be quite a fair ways away from this area because we're going to need it far enough away, because we're going to have villagers there. We don't want to be forming any villages, so we're not going to be using normal doors in any of the industrial zone, but it will have to be made spawn proof for the villagers to do their work and whatnot. But that's all for future episodes. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you haven't been mad at me for the lack of episode uploads lately. I have also got the next DLC of Destiny 2 coming out, so I will probably only be getting maybe 1 or 2 videos max out a week for the next couple of weeks, and I will be working on that big project of ours in between episodes, hopefully to get that all up and running by Christmas time, as a sort of celebration for Christmas for me. To have that up and running would be a godsend. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the episode nonetheless, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye bye.